Can you tell me why you chose Kickstarter to like fund your projects, fund your company?
Bryn, you can go first.
Yeah, it was pretty tough to choose, right? There's a lot of pros and cons in each column, but for us, we're made to measure. So we manufacture on demand. So we would have done a pre-order system regardless. It was just whether we did that through our website or through a platform like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. One of the things that helped me was talking to Christina. So it's super helpful to have, founder friends that are a couple steps ahead of you. And what I thought was really useful was that 30% of sales in her campaign were coming from Kickstarter, and we actually found the same thing. So from an awareness building perspective, it was helpful. I think there are certain things, that we can talk about that are on the flip side of that, but just getting the awareness out on a platform that people understood was a pre-order platform was what I felt like was a good reason to launch on that platform.
So your model is the pre-order. You have to basically it's because it's made to order system. They need to do it anyway. So, but the Kickstarter you chose, they to take their own percentage from the transaction, correct? So
Yeah, they
wouldn't
take
it be
5.
more profitable to just do it from the website?
Yeah, so they take 5%. So the question you're asking really is, did we have a top line goal or a bottom line goal? And at the stage of our company, it's top line revenue. That's more important than bottom line profit.
All right. Okay. What about you, Christina?
Yeah, and I think just to build on what Bryn was saying about like the 30% of orders coming from Kickstarter, that's like 30% more people or 30% more orders than she would have gotten without Kickstarter. So it's worth that like 5% that you're going to be paying them out to reach those customers. So for me, like, I think almost right about 40% of Wicked Rose's orders were from Kickstarter. Why did I ultimately go with Kickstarter? I think honestly, like I've been doing Wicked Rose for about 4 years now. And for the longest time, once every 6 months or so, somebody would ask and be like, "Are you going to do a Kickstarter?" And I was always like, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the right venue or like means to reach my customers. Plus, I was doing a lot of work on the back end to make sure that our like technical departments were finishing R&D, which was taking for goddamn ever, and I was like, the product's not ready. And so then last summer when I was in Toronto for Next 36, I was like, okay, you know what? I think I'm just gonna go for it, try to do the Kickstarter thing, especially because I had some friends who had done it, who were able to introduce me to people who worked at Kickstarter and things like that, which was really helpful. I grossly underestimated how much work it was going to be. I was just like, oh, June, I'll launch in August, especially as like one person. And then it was like, I'll launch in October. And then it was like, oh, well, I've missed the October deadline. Nobody has any money in November, December, January, so I'll launch in February. Okay, well, now it's March. Now it's March 15th. Now it's March 19th. Now it's March 26th. And then and then it worked. But I think learnings-wise, like, you got to think about if your customers are going to be on Kickstarter or not. And so I think for the 40% who came from Kickstarter, for me, they probably mostly backed because they liked the designs more than they did martial arts. Whereas like my customers are not familiar with platforms, so there was a huge barrier to entry for them to be able to like order. They're not super used to pre-orders in the first place. They've never used Kickstarter. They have to make an account. They don't really understand how it works. So honestly, it's a miracle I did as well as I did at this point.
So because Kickstarter itself, there are already people on there who are always looking for new products and they want to try out new products, back new products. So you can tap into that market. But there is also very crowded in terms of there are so many people already trying to raise the fund. So how did you compete with that on the Kickstarter?
Yeah. I guess I can start. We'll just like alternate going first, I guess, Bryn. There's usually about 2,000-ish. There seems to be about 2,000 or 2,200 projects running at any given time. So it's not like a huge nutso amount, but it is an amount. I think the thing about Kickstarter that people don't realize is like, yes, they can bring you up to 30 or 40% of your sales, but also like we were fortunate to be in the algorithm with Bryn and I, where it's like you get the like projects we love badge because we knew somebody who had worked at Kickstarter who was able to like provide feedback. There's no official way to get that, but like once you have that badge, then you're like more likely to be suggested to people who they think are a good fit for you. And so like that's a goal to get one. And then like you have to bring people to Kickstarter, because you can't fund a project without bringing people. So like for me, I had an over 3,000 person email list like before launch that we built up in the months leading up to it, who were like highly qualified martial artists, who I was bringing along the whole time. And then when we launched, was like, it's there, like go do it. And so brought my own sales over there. So you are in a way competing with others on the platform, but you're mostly like, it's the seeds that you sow beforehand and while you're doing it, more than like how much you're able to reach people on the platform. Even the people who sell millions of dollars, they've brought 60% of those sales through ad spend and things like that. It doesn't just happen usually.